Hello there my fellow holotable heroes and welcome to another Grand Arena video. Now it's been a while since I've done a video showing you how I'm kind of splitting my teams for offense and defense, and since I've done my last video there have been many new characters added to the game. I'm having some new characters now relicked up and ready to be used, and of course we had lots of Omicrons added to the game, as well as the new splits of divisions and leagues and new matchmaking that works very differently than before. So I think it's now a good time, after a few weeks of this new system that we've been having, to give you an updated guide just to show you what I've been kind of doing for the past few weeks to try and maintain my Kyber 1 position. Now just to give you some context before I go through the teams here, in this video I'll just be covering the defensive team. I'll do another team just specifically for offense. The whole thing is that basically, apart from week 1 that was not based on skill rating, every other week since then, looking at my brackets, I'm always like bottom 2 in number of Galactic Legends, I'm bottom 2 number of relics, bottom 2 of speed mods, I'm pretty much bottom 2 as well in GP or any sort of category if you do comparison between me and my bracket. So it's definitely a bit of a struggle to maintain my position where I'm at. So I do have to get a little bit creative because all my opponents have more teams than me, right? Pretty much everybody will have Lord Vader and as well Beskar Mandalorian Scoundrel team. So that's 2 teams that each of my opponents will have that I do not have. So I'm only down 2 teams. Most of them will have as well Dash, Omicron and Smugglers, and finally some of them even Star Killer already. So on average I'm between 2 to 4 teams down compared to my opponents. So I have to get a little bit creative of how I'm utilizing my roster, so just I can still compete on this level even though I'm having less teams, less Galactic Legends available than my opponent. Obviously it also depends where you are at the game. Certain teams might be more impactful than the others. Then when you're at pretty much Kyber 1, I'm somewhere in the middle of Kyber 1. I'm neither at the top nor at the bottom. I'm always kind of hovering around that middle skill rating at the moment. So with this out of the way, just to give you some context of where I'm at, hopefully some of the ideas that I'll show you might help you a little bit how to think and how to reorganize your roster if you are facing opponents that do have more teams. If you're facing opponents that have less teams, then obviously your approach will be different because you'll be able to put some super teams together to make it harder. For me, I really have to spread out my good characters across multiple teams a little bit just to give few more teams that can snipe some banners, because it's pretty much probably the best way for me to win is I'm not going to stop anybody from full clearing. I'm not gonna even force people to two-shot one of my teams because they all have more to throw at on defense and offense than me. So I'm trying to do is put teams together that will snipe 2 or 3 banners, and then I'm trying to be as efficient as I can on offense, and hopefully I can get the win. Alright, enough of all the context and the story around it. Let's just start first off with General Grievous. Now here again it will depend slightly what you have available. In my case, because I do not have here Beskar Mandalorian available, then what I actually do instead, I kind of spread my Separatists very thin here, creating 3 teams. So I'm just kind of put their General Grievous with BB-8 for that extra turn meter to begin with, just to make it harder for some of the teams to counter and as well to snipe more banners. Now obviously Night Sisters can easily counter this team, although IG with his healing immunity there, Zeta, could cause some complication, but still Night Sisters can beat this team. But hey, if my opponent uses Night Sisters against this team, they will be getting no more than 60 banners, so that's goal achieved in my books. So General Grievous with BB-8 and whatever leftover droids you have, they will do the job, at least for me. Then moving on, obviously the rest of the Separatist squad, as mentioned before, if I would have, as you see I'm missing Quill and IG, if I would have them, then I would have Beskar Mandalorian available either for offense or defense. Because I don't, I actually even further split my Dooku and Newt Gunray into 2 separate teams. That's why all these Grievous droids go together with Newt, and then kind of remaining their Django. I also Spoggle here with Dooku. and then finally L3 for the pre-taunt, and then, you know, Nest for being Nest there really. So that's kind of, I'm splitting there. But if I ever do get Quill and IG running, means I will have an extra team either for offense or defense. In that case, obviously I might rearrange here, put some better droids with Grievous, and then combine Newt and Dooku team somehow into one. And this also then will maybe leave me Django to either use with Mandalorians or with Bounty Hunters, and obviously Nest can go into a Scoundrel team nicely. But for now, this is what I gotta do to get more teams available that can snipe some banners. So moving on, and I've got my here Geos, right? And you say, oh, what's Malak doing in there? First things first, I'm using Poggle as mentioned before with Count Dooku, you know, just to give some cleanser to the team, extra offense and things like that. And here I'm using Malak because, to be honest, if you look at my Darth Revan team, it's under Darth Maul lead, and to be honest, this kind of team, again, won't stop anybody. I know there's been a whole lot of discussion around, you know, don't put Maul on the lead with Revan, just put Revan with the lead. And, you know, again, it depends where you are at the game. I really need to have as many banner sniping team as possible. So while, yes, this small team is countered easier than Darth Revan team, you know, you'll be very hard pressed there to actually get any better banners than a Darth Revan lead. And remember, for me, the goal is to snipe banners. So let's just look at some of the data here from SWGG, the meta report. Obviously excluded Galactic Legends, because Galactic Legends can defeat Darth Revan or Maul lead easily. So you can see versus Darth Revan lead what people are using. Mostly, there you go, John Skywalker, like 58 banners looks like on average. Obviously Bounty Hunters can get a number on them, and as well Troopers there for, you know, as you can see, Bounty Hunters and Troopers are definitely higher banner than GAS. Some do mirror match. So as you can see, pretty much Troopers here reign supreme over Darth Revan lead for an average of 62 banners really, and then their Bounty Hunters can get 64. So that's versus Darth Revan lead. So now if you look at here Darth Maul lead, again, fine, you know, you use Darth Revan for 61 banners, John Skywalker gets 60. Obviously, now you can use different counters versus Darth Maul lead, but if you use your General Grievous against my Maul and get 59 banners, that's a win in my books. So overall, as you can see, pretty much similar banners there, and even more, like it stops Troopers, there you go, only 11% win, and even CLS, you know, might struggle there. I guess the only probably high banner win you could pull off is with Bad Batch, it seems, but you know, it's by no means 100%. So that's the point I'm trying to make, that while yes, Darth Revan arguably is a better lead overall in terms of banner sniping, there isn't a whole lot of difference. And then what gives you that flexibility then is to obviously slot in Malak with your Geos, and suddenly Geos are not a pushover team anymore. You can just easily throw your undersized Palpatine and Vader against this kind of lineup, because Malak will regain bonus turn meter for Palpatine and Vader, right? So definitely, you know, they can still be taken out by many teams, but again, getting, you know, those high banner, easy, quick wins versus Geos might be a little bit more complicated with Malak in there. Again, like I mentioned before, I have to get a little bit creative what I'm doing here with my defenses. And again, you know, just throwing some different air teams at your opponent, just maybe it a little bit confuse them. Okay, so moving on from Darth Revan split to kind of the Terminator train teams for defense. Obviously, Mon Mothma with Kyle and the rest of the crew. Obviously, the faster you can make your Kyle, the harder this team will be to outrun really on defense. Obviously, at Gear 11 you can't make him super fast, but still, you know, even at 240, 250, 260, it might be too fast for some people's Troopers or Vaders, depending on where their speeds are at. There are ways to take this team down. I'm not saying it's unbeatable, but definitely, you know, some people will struggle to outrun it. And same thing goes here for Rey Jedi training. Now I'm using my BB-8 as you've seen with General Grievous. However, you know, this team still can, you know, cause some issues there, especially if you're like Hero Finn is 330 plus speed. You don't really need BB-8 if you have that fast Finn, and you know, they'll still be able to, if they get going, this team is dangerous. And then at the same time, like if they go for they would most likely go for Hero Finn first, but then if they don't control the smugglers, if you take out Rey, then they get going, or if you take out one smuggler, the other one will get a turn. So, you know, could snipe some banners as well this team. And moving on, it's pretty much Galactic Legend raid with leftover resistance. Now, where I'm at, you know, somewhere in the middle of Kyber 1, everybody will have Sith Eternal Emperor, and to be honest, Sith Eternal Emperor, well-modded Sith Eternal Emperor with armor can take out any sort of Ray comp, so I'm not a huge fan, at least, you know, here in Kyber 1, people trying to put, I don't know, some sort of overpowerful, you know, team with Ray, wasting these resistance heroes there, or Commander Ahsoka Tano, things like that, because to be honest, well-modded Sith Eternal Emperor with armor, that's all you need to take down any sort of Ray teams, unless you've got some really crazy there offense on Ray, like, you know, 12, 13k, but then you just bring in a couple of extra, you know, Sith there with Sith Eternal Emperor, they can still get job done. So definitely, if I'm putting Ray on defense, I'll just put kind of leftover resistance there, and, you know, they'll pull off the same counters, similar amount of banners as, you know, those powerful Ray teams that you know, you sometimes put together. Again, if I would have more teams than my opponents, which I never do, then maybe, you know, I could afford putting some more powerful Ray team together, but at least I'm just trying to spread out my roster in this kind of way. Now, Jon Skywalker, I just put him on defense for two reasons only. Fine, you can use your Sith Eternal to get easy win versus Marais, but then you can't use your Sith Eternal to get an easy win versus General Skywalker. So my opponent will have to decide, okay, well, what do I do versus guess what I do with Ray, because you only have one Sith Eternal Emperor. So that's why if you are putting down a Ray on defense, definitely I do like to put General Skywalker just for that very reason. Plus General Skywalker on offense, in at least where I'm at, is not really all that useful. You have no way to recover banners. If you use it on attacks, it's gonna be a low banner win, and, you know, you're not soloing anybody at my level anymore with General Skywalker, or even two manning. It's going to be insanely hard, the amount of teams now, the type of teams that are coming on defense with all the Omicrons and new characters that we have. So just put them on defense and, you know, let the opponent decide what they want to do against it. This pains me, this really pains me, seeing Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron to be marked as a defensive team, because when this team initially came out, the Qui-Gon Omicron was one of my favorite teams to use on offense. Just because of the big AoEs from Anakin whenever Qui-Gon gets taken out. Obviously the whole issue with Qui-Gon team is that it's not going to be a high banner win, because you will lose Qui-Gon before you can actually take somebody out in most cases. However, going versus Darth Revan, as I've been using these guys primarily, I'm willing to accept low banners, because Darth Revan is one of the things that getting high banners, if you're not using Galactic Legends versus them, is going to be very, very difficult. So for now, I'm thinking to putting this team on defense, because it's not as nearly as reliable as before. And I've seen some people, you know, just using Qui-Gon now and Anakin to 2v5 certain teams. But again, you know, looking at the type of teams that my opponents are putting on defense, they all have multiple ways to, you know, control Anakin. Like, what if they get stun on him or ability block or things like that? Then you can't really do your AoE, and then Anakin is just there by himself and gets taken out quite quickly. So I don't want to risk that happening to me. So maybe this team will just be going on defense. I didn't make a final decision yet, but for now I'm thinking going forward it's going to be a defensive team. Hopefully can snipe some banner, or, you know, pull some strong team to take it out. Moving on, Traya. Now Traya is both good on defense and offense as well, so depending what you're planning to do. Now I like to put Talon here with Traya, because Sith Triumvirate is a relatively slow team, so, you know, plus 20 speed will definitely help them. And, you know, Traya is not a top defensive team, has many counters out there, but a lot of the teams that people, if you look at the meta report, would use against it is CLS, Jedi Knight Revan, or Imperial Troopers, and all these teams, they rely on attacks out of turn. And obviously with Traya's lead, anytime you attack out of turn, you are losing some protection there. So, you know, getting good banners versus these guys is not that easy actually. In most cases you will lose 2 or at least 3 banners versus these guys. So again, banner sniping teams, it's what I'm looking for. Now, these are pretty much the teams here that I showed you now that I do have, apart from their Beskar Mandalorian. I don't have him yet, but I just put him there for reference, just to explain why I'm splitting my Separatist into 3 teams, just because I do need an extra team to do something. And the rest of the teams are kind of what I have built out already. Now here we come to a sort of a wish list, or if you do have these teams, you can consider them as well. Putting on defense like Dash Omicron, especially if you make him like really quick once he's relicked. This team can cause some issues, or you know, worst case, they will be sniping some banners from the enemy just because of the sheer power that they have out of the gate, especially if your Dash goes first. And then if you do have their Omicron Chirpa, hey, that you know, adds extra speed there, and as you probably know, Paplu, from his unique, he's getting as well plus 25% speed. So before you know it, you know, with a good speed set on him, with all these extra bonuses of speed and things like that, you could make him really fast, hard to outrun. And if they get going, oh boy, you are in for a battle versus Ewoks. Do not underestimate if you do see relic Ewoks on defense. And finally, the latest edition, Eden Versio, obviously allows you to kind of create a leftover Imperial Trooper squad, which obviously, as you can see, I'm not there yet, so hopefully at some point in a few months time, when obviously Eden Versio is farmable, I might get around to getting a second Imperial Trooper lineup going. So if you do have, it's a great team there on defense. Obviously it's still a new team, so I'm not sure exactly what the performance is, how well it holds, but because Eden obviously with her abilities, she will get 100% her meter somewhere. Is it on her lead? No, hold on. It's on her unique. Yeah, there you go. So she will gain 100% her meter at the start of the battle, right? And then she can, you know, call everybody to assist and snipe some banners away. So maybe, you know, even if you don't have her yet at relic, but the other guys are relic, you know, they can still probably do some damage on defense. But yeah, these are teams I don't have ready yet. I won't have ready anytime soon. I just wanted to mention for those of you that maybe do have them, you might consider to putting them on defense. And there you go, guys, this is it, what I'm kind of planning around the defensive teams. Again, reminding you of the context of where I'm at, somewhere in the middle of Kyber 1. I'm always basically an underdog in every single match pretty much, so I do definitely have to kind of get creative a little bit. How can I create more teams, just spread those good powerful characters out in different teams, just to hopefully snipe some banners and then trying to win on the efficiency. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you find this video useful and helpful. Let me know in the comments below or my Discord server. But until then, have fun, enjoy your life, and may the RNG be with you, my friends.